Canyon Lake. It's a little, I'm halfway between San Antonio and Austin.
I get over to San Antonio a couple times a year.
Oh
I
yeah.
got a friend that I work with. I do some marketing work for and do some teaching with him. And it's Cash Flow Mike over in San Antonio, man. Great dude.
Where you at? Where you at?
Virginia. I'm in Virginia, right outside of
Oh,
I'm
okay.
outside of Roanoke, Virginia.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
get over to in kind of your way. I got a couple of cars right now in a museum in an auto museum up in Clarksville,
Tennessee,
Georgia,
Georgia.
just south of North Carolina, north of Atlanta.
Yeah. I'm with
So
you.
I
Yeah,
mean,
because
kind of,
when you get north of Atlanta, you can fall into Tennessee pretty easily too sometimes. What kind of cars you got?
well, one of them's I've got over there's a 70 Torino Cobra
Uh-huh.
with the 429 Super Cobra jet and the drag pack 4 speed, and they only made 125 of them.
Yeah.
And then the other one's a 67 Shelby GT 500 that was owned by Carroll Shelby and
Yeah.
was in the Shelby television ads and all that. And they used it for the road shows and the display, getting the word out about the Shelbys back in the 60s. And it's nut and date correct, perfect.
Man,
So
that's awesome.
I think I'm gonna sell it. I think I'm gonna the Torino Cobra. I think I'm gonna sell it, and but uh, but yeah, you can see. I mean, it's like people can look on the uh, YouTube, pull up 67 Shelby television ad, and the dark green one that's in there is the one that
That's
I've
yours.
got. Yeah.
Man, that's too cool. I grew up where my folks are big old car folks, but they wouldn't let me touch them when I was a kid. They're like, you can't touch this. No, don't get over here. You don't put a scratch on this. So I didn't have any interest. Like I was like, you can't. If I can't touch it, play with it. What's I don't want this. So it was my. But I've been around classic cars my entire life.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, it's a neat thing. I mean, when I got out of the hospital, out of the Marine Corps, eventually I started a thing called Corvette Enterprises, and I flipped and I started out with Corvettes,
yeah,
and but I would flip. I flipped about 550 cars over about 4 or 5 year period, and then I flipped about another 50 or 60 over the years. And but it's like if you got a maybe you just want to buy a Corvette. I mean,
yeah,
an older one. Okay, a 65 Stingray, and this is 72, and then you bought it, and then I've got let's say you traded in a Mustang, and if we're because you always wanted that Corvette, you always wanted, but you got a '66 Mustang, okay, and then I get somebody with a Chevelle that wants a Mustang, then I get this, and somebody with a Monte Carlo or a Grand Prix wants the Chevelle, and then
yeah.
and I had 12, 15, 18, 20 cars at a time out on my dad's farm, so
That's
you know,
crazy.
it was just fun. And back in those days, they didn't tax you on
Yeah,
every time you sold it.
yeah,
Now, every
yeah,
time you sell it, you got to transfer title and all that. So back in the day, if I got bought a car from you or you traded it in, I just have you sign the title. And then when you sign the title, I just hold on to it. I just stick it over here in this box and lock it
yeah,
up. And then if Bob over here, he buys your car, I just give him the title.
yeah. Were
Mm,
you a dealer? Because the only people that can do that where I'm from now is dealers. Dealers can do that, but can move on.
Well, yeah, but I'm
But
talking in the 70s,
yeah,
early
see, that's what I'm
70s.
saying. Like like now, that's an open title where I'm from. That's prison time. Like they'll for
No,
jumping
not.
taxes back
I,
like it is now. That's a cool
oh,
thing about back in your day. Yeah,
yeah, now it's like it's totally changed all over
yeah,
everywhere. I mean, it's like unfortunately. I saw a car. I talked to a guy the other day. He was the seventh owner of a car. Now think about that. They taxed it when it was new, and every owner they've taxed it. They probably got more taxes on what that car than what
yes.
it's worth.
I say the same thing, man. My I've done exactly. I worked in dealership, but I've also just been a consumer and bought and sold and this and the other. And I just think it's, you should pay sales tax once. It's just but because you have to
One
go to
time.
that regulatory agency. I understand transferring the title and the paperwork fee, but I just don't understand why they're able to tax you on an automobile. If me and you were same thing with guns, same thing with if it's used, taxes have already been paid on it, in my
Yep.
opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just it's a hey, let me pause for a second. I got to tell everybody who we're talking to. Today's guest is Jay Setchell. Setchell, right?
Yeah.
I say that right? Jay Setchell, Marine, father, entrepreneur, and leader. And here's something, folks. Jay's died 3 times, and he lives mostly paralyzed today. But he's still building companies, raising families, and
Yeah.
pushing forward with purpose. Man, this is an exciting one. I think I reached out for you, Jakes. I was just reading about you, and I'm like I told you when you first came. I was like, man, I love meeting people. I love meeting people's interesting story with stories, and it's hard for me to read about you, someone who basically. Let me give you a little background on me, Jay. I worked in public safety, so I have been on the other side, and I've held people's hands while they passed on, and I've shot people back to life, and I've got to do the other experiences. Um, I guess fortunately for me is I haven't lived your experience yet, and I'm okay if I don't.
You're good if you don't, man.
I'm okay if I don't, but I wanted you to tell me about it.
No.
I wanted you to, and for our guests and just everyone out there, man, I wanted to get to know you and your story and just all those things. And like you said, man, you're a car guy. I just wanted to help spread the story that you had in your bio, man. So tell me, what's a day look like in your life now, and just kick us off
Uh,
and whatever you'd like to share with us, brother.
I mean, my days. I mean, usually, I mean, it's real painful to get out of bed. It's hurts and you drag your legs over and get them on a scooter and go through that. And, it's just, I, I always look like every day I want to get up. Every day I want to get up and get going. Every day I want to accomplish something. Every day I want to move forward. Every day I want to help somebody. I want to do something positive because I'm alive.
Yeah.
And I say this with all due respect to everybody that I don't think most people understand the value of life and what they can give to life and what life offers them until they've been dead or
Yeah.
near dead. And the other thing that I don't think is that most people understand the value, the time, the older you get. In other words, you're not a teenager anymore. So how long was it since you were a teenager? It wasn't that long. And when you're a teenager, you think, boy, by the time I get to be 45 or 50, it's going to be a long time. No, it's not. It's just
Yeah.
like it's gone.
Yep.
And so when you put those two things together, the value of time and how fast time moves against the value of life, it changes your perspective a lot. And doing answering questions I've been posed has improved myself a lot. I see things differently because I haven't thought about it like that. It's just like if you're 25 buying a new car or a used car or whatever, and you're 45 and you're 75, you look at it differently each time because you have a different value on life
Yep.
of what you're looking for or what you're getting or that kind of thing. But anyhow, but I get up. I mean, some days I do a podcast. I own 20% of a company here. In town. We're national. We're going international now, and I got a huge investment in that on top of ownership. But we deal a lot with the military and training and saving lives, and then we take a lot of the stuff we've used for the military and developed for the military and use it into law enforcement and
Yeah.
firefighters because we can take the same product and just paint it yellow or orange
Yep.
and use it for the Houston Fire Department. We did a demo for them 3 weeks ago. They were buying stuff that day. We got to have that. We need one of those. We got to have some of that. Oh, can you come back? We need more of that. And right now, they just finished a $22 million fire training center over in the Orlando area. So 4 of our guys are heading that way right now. They're on the road heading to Orlando. We got a call last week. They said, "Hey, we got a big big seminar. We've heard about you. We've seen you've been over here before. We want you here next week for a
That's
full
awesome.
demo. Yeah, and but it's say it,
What
but
kind of equipment, Jay? What kind of
it,
equipment are you?
it's it's more explosive equipment, so we can recreate, like for the firefighting department, let's suppose we can take we take I gotta get rid of that off my screen. We can create backdrafts. We
Ah,
can make
got it.
that. We can make car explosions. We can blow up houses. We can use smoke simulators, and everything's done remotely. So if you're in control of this whole fire scene and you're sitting back here and you're watching your firefighters run around and your guys, okay, now you got smoke out of that room. Now oh, I want to make smoke on that side. Oh, you just flip the switch. You can choose 999 channels at once and then reset them all if you want, and you can have smoke, and then they're of course they have. Are they aware that there could be a backdraft? Or if you got a car fire, we can simulate car fires. We can simulate a car explosions. Uh, up with a thing called Teaks in um, um, at Texas A&M, where the just like the place over there that they just did in Orlando, they've got rail cars that are piled on top of each other, school buses turned over, first responders, folks like yourself that were do public safety, they're showing up, they're out there, boom, there that car just blew up back there. Oh my God, well, what are we going to do? So, in the military side of it, you can use it for fully immersion training. We've got
Yep.
sound systems that are 800, I think they're 850 watts, and we put them up, and you can put so like in the military, if you want sound for a training exercise at Fort Polk, Louisiana, or 3rd Infantry Division or the Marine Corps, we can make it sound like bells from the songs from Islam going off, and or noise,
Yeah.
machine gun fire. But everything is run through compressed air and natural gas, or LP gas in particular, and it's non-pyrotechnic, so it won't cause a
Yeah.
fire. It
That's
indulges the fire, but what a lot of what we've done is when you see these explosions that we create for the military, that's incoming.
yep.
So you can say, "Oh my God, they're dropping mortars on us." Oh no, that's artillery come. Oh heck, that how are you going to work your team through it? Just the same old thing. But I don't know. But I'm involved with that. I've got another couple of little companies I fool with and help with, and then people I try to reach out to, and I every day is another day, and
Yeah.
every day's a we're all a sum of what we've done in our lives, the choices we've made, the things we do, and I really enjoy helping people and reaching out. And I've got a gentleman's coming this afternoon wants to talk about doing a patent. Okay, well, I've done several patents, I've done several trademarks, and I'm not a patent attorney, but I can give them some direction on,
Yeah.
utility patents and, blah, 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 blah. And that's kind of
Earned
it.
experience. There's a lot to be said for earned experience, right? That's what I had to. I coach business, and I don't have a business degree or anything like that, but I have a lot of experience, and
Well,
I
that's the
think I think
problem.
there's
That's a problem right there. So a lot of people get degrees, but they don't have experience.
I don't have experience. Yeah,
You
that's
know,
what it's like in fire department. So I did EMS and a little bit of fire department, mainly EMS. But then I ended up as a 911 dispatcher, and then shortly thereafter, I was in law enforcement. So when folks just speak to we want our training to be as realistic as we can. And when you go through basic academies, we dress it up pretty realistic. But when you get into some of your advanced trainings, um, we want it to be like I've done scenarios like you're talking about, where it's just pure chaos. And because we want to bring it to life as close as we can to reality to train inside of that stress. That's it. Just
yeah.
training inside. Yeah. So man, it's so freaking cool what you guys are doing.
Well,
And I'm glad that that'll reach because I've already got like a list of 5 people. I'm like I need to share this episode immediately with some of my public safety friends about
there's
what you
a
guys are doing.
if you want to make a note, I'll give you a website they can go to now. The website's
Yeah,
pretty well spread out, but it's OPCON, OPCON US opconus.com. Now, we've expanded so much that website hasn't been updated for a while, but it's not that long it hasn't been. But up in the upper right-hand corner, there's one for firefighters, one for law enforcement, and one for military. But so we're getting now we've got one just for firefighters, another website. I can't remember what it is. It's like fire/opcon US. I don't remember what it is, but and it's total immersion. And we've gone with people from firefighters to people that's what they do is these training like at TEEX at TEEX. They that's it's a retired Air Force colonel, 24 years, fighter pilot, and we had done a little explanation, but he wanted a demo. We were up there 2 months ago, did a demo. They signed us for four contracts for training as a service, and then they're already going to be buying equipment because they've never seen anything like this, and it's
Yeah.
it's completely immersive. It's like you know more well, like in the military, what they do is they run around, they throw a flashbang
Yep.
and they go, boom,
Yeah.
you're dead. You're dead. Okay. No, 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 no. Now you think you're dying because
That's
we
right.
got like the Moab. When the Moab goes off, it will move the tree leaves above your head and you'll feel it through your hat or your helmet at 250 feet or 150 yards or 100 yards. It's like, now you can stand 20 feet from it and be below the blast zone. You're safe. You're fine. There's nothing harming it. But it's boom. We can blow about 200 feet, 250 feet in the air, make it look like white phosphorus, napalm, dirt. It's crazy. I mean, that's just
I
one
see
of
you
the
got some
things.
videos on here too. I'm gonna check those out once. I posted the link, folks. It's in our notes, but I got some. I got I see a YouTube channel and all sorts of cool stuff here, man. Yeah. This is really
Yep.
really cool stuff.
Well, and we got some stuff that hasn't been posted yet because we've been going so much. I mean, until right before Christmas, they were gone for 5 weeks. I mean, we did well, and we just finished the national SWAT competition 2 weeks before Christmas out west of Vegas. And before that, they worked with 7,000 men with the Third Infantry Division in Fort Stewart in Savannah, Georgia. So that's a lot. But the guys that were this national SWAT competition, they were, kicking doors and doing all this other stuff. And they just couldn't believe, you know, what we brought. They were like, this just changed our whole concept of everything because they're not prepared for the remote smoke, the remote
Yeah.
detonations, the remote car bombs that just went off or whatever. But yeah, it's pretty cool. But
Well,
that's
a
just
lot,
a
and
fun thing.
for the folks that don't like a lot of the things we do, we can create smoke, but we're burning something. We if we're going to, a lot of the things that we in the environment, like in a burned building back in my day, we were burning pallets to create heat within it.
Yeah.
This is super cleaner. It leans into heart lung, all the things
Well,
that
this
we
is not,
aim for safety and
yeah, and this is all non-toxic.
yeah, that's what like that's the
It's,
part that is it's hard not to want to do this because you're not bringing anything negative in any
yeah,
environment.
no, no, no. And
It's
and
awesome.
last October, I think it was Jason was out, got a call, and they said, "Hey, we need you out here within 24 hours." We got the Danish Special Forces at oh my gosh, I forgot the name of that company that they do training for medics that work with the military, and they had the Danish Special Forces over with some of their medics, and they went through it, and they wrote oh, what was the name of that company? But anyhow, they wrote a referral letter saying, OMG, this is like you had us completely gone. I mean, they were well because they were in the trees, they were here. We've got mortars going off or coming in and
Yeah.
explosions and sound. And so, but it's interesting because you get to save lives and help people, and if you save a firefighter's life, just for an example, how many people will he save if he's a firefighter for 25 years? You know, maybe none. He might save
Yep.
30 people.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty cool deal, but I don't know. And so every day, and then we're raising twins, so we got 8-year-olds that are in the house here, and I'm turned 76 New Year's Eve, so I'm getting to be old for this stuff. It's like, but it just
How was
you know
that? How
do
was
what.
how was being the dad again?
Oh, it's all right. I mean, I've been dad for my oldest son. I adopted when he was 4, and he's 56 now. And his
Yeah.
dad, his dad was a draft dodger and got divorced and went to Canada. And I met his mother, like after I was out of the Marine Corps and after, the Vietnam and the hospital. I was a year in the hospital for a year. And but I met her a couple years later and I got married when I was 24. I should have waited,
Yeah.
but I adopted him and then we had a son and it just like it's life. You do the best you can.
Yeah,
You
it
know?
sounds like you manage it really well. But walk me back to tell us. You mentioned all the purpose and the things that you discovered in your life and getting out of bed with a plan. Was it always like that? And did
Yeah.
your we come close to death 3 times? How does that how does that frame what shifted inside you that made quitting a non like it's non-negotiable? There's somewhere along the lines you're like, I'm not quitting. Your website, folks, and I posted that in there for everyone. Neverquittrying.com is Jay's
Yeah.
website. Like, you are a man dedicated to, I ain't quitting. I'm in this wheelchair. I've died 3 times. Y'all got me back. I got all this cool stuff going on. I enjoy helping people. What was it
Well,
like before all that?
the website's still under construction, but my book that just started publishing, just came out here a couple weeks ago. Um, Says more about it, but no, I was raised on a farm. I mean, I learned a lot of responsibility on that. I mean, you know, it was fun. My dad was a pilot. We raised a lot of cattle, some hogs, corn, soybeans, all that kind of stuff. But I worked, in high school. I worked as soon as I got out of school, and worked till 12:30 every night, and then got back up at 5:30 and helped doing chores, and it's just then I went in the Marine Corps, and 17 months later, after I went in, 17 months, 12 days, I died in a car accident, taking another Marine back to base that had been severely injured, and his wife was with us holding a compress on his head because they had cut his head open pretty bad and down in his ear and hanging off. I didn't know how much blood he had in him, but anyhow, she ended up passing away. She was in a coma for 18 months, and I, and I don't feel the first 3 times were near death because I saw myself dead. I mean,
Yeah.
I really, I did. I mean, I, and it's too much to go into right now, explain it, but the Marine Corps my body was, I mean, 32 facial fractures. My skull was fractured up here badly. I burns on my head and my leg melted some and, all that kind of stuff. And, um, but a year in the Naval Hospital, that's a long time. That's a long
Yeah.
time between coma and intensive care and surgeries and
What year?
then
What year, Jay?
I died November 12th, 69.
69. So you're talking, I mean, just technology, right? You're talking about hospital experience is way different in 1969 than it is in
Oh
2025
yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I enlisted in '67. I, my grandfather had a heart attack, so I got put on the delayed enlistment program. Went in, my feet hit the yellow footprints at San Diego Marine Corps boot camp, May 31st, 1968, and from there the fun began. It was like, hey, but yeah, it was a totally different thing. And then when you get out of the hospital, there's no physical therapy, there's no occupational therapy, there's no psychiatry, the psychiatric stuff, there's nothing. It's just you can get the leg braces on, you got your crutches, you can walk, you can walk a little bit, okay, you're out, goodbye.
Yeah.
and they send you home, and I started multiple businesses after I rehabbed a little bit just to stay
Hey,
busy.
Jay,
Yeah,
one thing I was going to ask you, and I know you don't, if you don't want to get into it, that's fine. And it might drag, but it's my curiosity will absolutely. And I think my friends and the folks that enjoy my episodes, like when you say you had that out of body experience and you saw yourself, if can you explain maybe what was going on there?
yeah. I mean, I don't like to get into too much because when I wrote the book, I had to remember back to things that I was trying to forget for 55 years, 56 years,
I understand.
and it's
Yeah,
it's but I don't remember any pain. I was they had me on a bed. They had me on in emergency room at Camp Pendleton Naval Hospital, and I had my back up against the ceiling. Everything was red, and there were three doctors that had been trying to work on me, and I was a mess. My left foot was turned backwards. Uh, my compound fracture, my left femur. I mean, my hips were gone, my knees were gone, my right leg had been on fire, my face was gone. Shoulders, every I was bad. I was a mess, and I was a driver. So I've got to set something off here real quick too.
okay,
Um,
good.
but um, I the three doctors started walking away um, from me and had given up. And I just got to set this off here in just a second. I got about a minute and a half. I mean, we're all okay, but um, and they'd given up, and I was screaming. I was cussing every foul Marine Corps word you can think of, every word you've ever
Right.
heard. I was making up words that swear, and I'm going to kill you. I'm going to come down there, and I'm not dead. Don't go. And I didn't feel I was dead, but I was up here. Like I said, and in on a door on the right, a guy named Dr. Gray came in, and I don't know how I know that. He had a name badge. He had his Navy whites on, right? And he was an oral surgeon. I mean, I don't know how I know these things. I just,
Yeah, love it.
he probably got called because they dug my face out of the steering wheel. You know how I was crushed
Yeah,
into it, completely into it. And no airbags back in those days, none of that kind of stuff. And but he came in and he started fooling around and looking around and looking around and he cut a tracheotomy in me, and I just expelled blood like a whale surfacing. And what had happened ultimately, had my left, I had four broken ribs on the left side, three on the right side, and two punctured lung. My lung was punctured in two places on the left and one on the right, and I had drowned in my own blood. So
yeah,
the
yep.
drowning in my own blood and the pressure, they couldn't hear my heart. And my heart basically had stopped because it was running out of blood because it was pumping the blood into my lungs, so I couldn't breathe. And when he did that,
It creates collapse. It collapses on your heart to stop.
it,
Yeah,
yep, and I okay, I'm good to go. And so, but but after that, I mean, I don't remember. It was probably 2 or 3 minutes. It was like I re-entered my body because I kept screaming the whole time, "I'm alive! I'm alive! I'm alive!" But had he not been in, I can only imagine that I would have gone on through the ceiling and gone up to purgatory or wherever I was going, and because the other three doctors turned around and came back then. And then the next thing I knew, I mean, I was in a coma for quite a while in intensive care. And then when I came out of that, they put me back in an induced coma because I had so many injuries and they were trying to get me fixed up. My face was completely ripped apart. I mean, the zygomas, both jaws, both sides, teeth sticking out my cheek. I used to stick my tongue up to my nasal passage. I remember that being in a coma, sticking my tongue into a nasal. It's like, wow, this is cool. I don't know. You don't, and I could hear noises, but I don't even know if I knew I was alive,
Yeah.
because when you're like that, you don't. So I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, back in intensive care, I mean, when the first voice that I ever recognized was my mother's, and it was about 5 or 6 weeks after the accident. And and I remember I couldn't talk, I couldn't see, I couldn't my face was still swollen up bad, but I had a tear run out of my left eye, and it ran down across my cheek. This is my left side only. And it felt like somebody just put a match out and then drug it down my cheek. It just burned like
Oh,
hell.
wow.
And in my book, I put a thing. She had a little thing, and maybe a few days after my induced coma, I had written a thing like, "Am I going to live?" But when you read it, the picture in the book, you can't really read what it says. But once you read what it says underneath printed, now I can make out the writing, if that makes sense. And it's like, because you don't know. You don't know. Am I going to
Yeah.
live? Will I die? Again? So that was it. I mean, and then 4 years later, I had a drunk hit me almost head on, and he got killed. He got no seatbelt, got thrown out of his pickup truck.
Second one was car wreck too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the first one, we hit a semi in the drivers, and the car blew up and burned. The semi pulled across the road up out of a loading area. He was loaded with crates of oranges in California, obviously. Okay. And no side lights, no marker lights, no reflectors. One headlight was working. This is all afterwards, and and we were the lead car. We had a full bird colonel behind us with his wife going back to base, and he said, well, there were 3 or 4 cars, like I say, behind us, but the car closest to us, and I saw his testimony later in the lawsuit that he said we never saw the car. I mean the truck until he hit it. Until he hit it, we didn't know it was there either. So I was on my brakes, they said, but it wasn't enough. I mean, and we were only
Yeah.
driving, they said about 50 to 52 miles an hour, but 40 foot of brake. And when you hit something that's 65, 70, 80,000 pounds, that old, my car was a 66 Ford Galaxy 500 XL, and it went from like about 17 feet and 4 inches to under 10 feet. And the accordion just went
Yeah.
nothing, nothing left.
Steel cars too, folks. We're talking
Pardon?
about steel framed. I was just saying we're talking about steel framed automobiles. It's
Oh
not.
yeah,
This is not our cars of today. This is a tank
no,
that Jay is driving.
yeah, it was a solid car. I mean, it was a good car. I mean, well, I don't know. Sounds like I got an echo. Yep.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Sometimes it'll lag on us, buddy.
But at any rate, but no, the second
Um,
one was
oh,
the
I'm not sure.
can you hear it?
I can't. No.
Okay. But the second one, yeah, the guy, he was weaving. We were out in the country. I mean, cornfields and all this, and when I saw him coming across the road a couple times, but didn't think anything of it. It was, just getting about. It was late in the afternoon. I was on my late early evening, and I was going to pick up a gal I was dating and go to the fair, and I was 24 years old, and no, I was 23 and a half, and uh, next thing I know, he was coming across the line, and I, I turned my wheel the best I could, but it took my motor out, took the hood off, took the left side of the car mostly off. The windshield pillar took severed my deltoid muscle, broke my bone up here, and stuck it out the back of my arm, screwed my shoulder up, busted my ribs again, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I was trapped in the car. And I remember glass in my mouth, and I remember rolling multiple times. Um, but I didn't know what the hell happened. I mean, it was just like it was so fast, but I had my seatbelt on, or I'd have been thrown out dead, dead, dead. And but I was bleeding bad. I was bleeding bad, and I finally bled out, and I was up in the sky. I was ascending into heaven or something. It's like I could hear voices. It's like I could hear that I was safe. That I felt like um, I was being welcomed, if that makes any sense. And I could see somebody finally start to work on me. Oh, it was 20, 25 minutes, close to half hour. It was a long time. But I'd bled out, and they took two of the people. I was a typo, and I don't know whether they found my bill. I don't know what they did, but they started sticking a needle in my arm, a needle in their arm, and feeding me blood. And after a while, I mean, I realized when I came to, I was in the hospital, but I don't really remember leaving the upper space, up above. But anyhow, it was just, I know my mom was smacking me with a newspaper about a week and a half later, telling me she said, quit doing this to us, quit doing this to us, because it was just 4 years before I had the accident in California. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of feedback.
I just fixed it. I figured out what it was. I just fixed it, buddy. You won't get it again.
I was gonna say I can put my headphones on or something,
No,
but
you're good. I just
then
got
then
I figured out what was causing it, so you're good.
okay, and then it was 8 years later, and a whole lot happened in that time from then to 8 years later, or yeah, 73, September of 73, and then July 4th, 1981, I jumped in a swimming pool, feet first, on my feet, and had a compression fracture, like driving a hammerhead down on a handle,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and I had a compression fracture, broke four vertebrae and drowned. And I was under long enough that I remember drowning, and it goes very quick. And I had my eyes open. I couldn't figure why nobody came to help me. And none of these did I feel any pain. I don't
No.
remember any pain. I don't remember any pain. Now, when I was in the hospital, then I feel pain, but during that time when it should be real bad, whether that's shock, whether it's because I was out of my body, whether I don't have a reason. But uh, but I broke my neck. They threw me out of the pool. This gal finally jumped in because I started turning a darker color because I drowned. I mean, I was about 8 minutes, they said. And when a guy got in to help her because she couldn't get me up alone. And then they pulled me up on top the people on poolside. And when they dropped my head, it broke my left zygoma, my eye
Yeah.
socket. And the doctors always said, but they make a long story short, a lot of the neurosurgeons have figured over the years, because I've had 15 back surgeries and then five cervical and fused. So I can't turn my head or look up or down and stuff like that here. And my back's a lot of mess. But they think a lot of that happened, or like the vertebrae in my neck got weakened when we hit that semi,
Yeah.
when my head implanted. It just didn't break my neck. It cracked it, or it split it, or it weakened it. And the same with my back. And then when I was in the Marine Corps or in the Naval Hospital, I was in traction for 8.5 months, laying on
Yep.
my back, and that killed my back. Oh my God, the pain was it wasn't good. It wasn't good, And there was other crazy things happen, but that's kind of a scenario on that. And then I think that's what gives me, well, and then I had here about 20 years ago, I had MRSA staph, and
Yep.
they had me in for 4.5 weeks in the hospital with multiple IVs. They did all sorts of tests. They couldn't figure what it was. And that's only a 25% survival rate. And I was already bad.
Yep.
Physical condition was, you know, I was, well, and then 4 years ago, no, I was 21 now. it's almost 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. I had COVID Delta, and my wife had it, and they gave her ivermectin, and she started taking ivermectin on Monday, and Friday she tested negative. But then she had pneumonia to a degree for a couple of weeks. And but she took me in to get me tested, and they said take him to emergency, and I said I don't want to go to emergency, and she had tears running down her cheeks, and they told her basically go home and start funeral arrangements. I was bad.
Really?
I was 20 points. I was at 62% blood oxygen, so
Oh yeah.
I was 20 points under a heart attack, and
Did they?
they
But
stuck
did
me
they
on.
give you? They wouldn't give you ivermectin for?
No, they said it was too late for ivermectin, and by then our glorious government had decided ivermectin was too cheap and it worked too good, so they took it off the
Yeah.
market. But they put me on IV IV drip and oxygen and all this other
Yep.
stuff. But they say that had they given me a bit of ivermectin in my drip, I probably would have been all over everything within a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But as it was, I spent 5 months in 4 hospitals instead, and got re-paralyzed. When I broke my neck, I was paralyzed from the shoulders down, never supposed to move. And I worked at it. Long story, another time. But I got through it. I walked out of the hospital. I had a halo cap bolted in my skull. You can
Yep.
still see my scars and all that. And I walked out several months later. I didn't walk out, but I negotiated my way with crutches and leg
Yeah.
braces. And but I got to where I could walk. I walked pretty good with leg braces and a cane for about 16 or 17 years.
Wow,
And
that's
then
good.
I had more brainstem surgeries, and that reparalyzed me again. And from my legs down, made them a lot worse. So I had to use a walker. So I was on a walker for 16 or 17 years. And then things got so much bad. I've had 16 left knee surgeries, and it's been replaced 3 times. But the last time it was so bad that between that and my paralysis and the back pain and all the pain, I've been in this power wheelchair that I'm sitting in. Oh my God. And sitting in, and I've been in it 7 years or 8 years, something like that. I don't keep track of time like that. It's like,
Yeah.
you
I don't.
know,
Yeah. My kids. My kids are 15 and 13, so my kids kind of like they roll my clock back. Like I don't feel old. I don't. I'm 50s. I'm 51 now. I don't. I
oh, you're
just.
young.
Yes, I know.
By,
I'm
by,
talking to
by the
you.
time, hey, by the time I was but I mean, I was dead a couple of times and
I was gonna
already
say
out
you did
by the
that
time you were
twice.
born.
You did that twice by the time I was born, dude.
Hey, I know. That's what I'm saying. You're just a
Jay,
youngster.
did you have is there any other than like your injuries that you negotiate every day? Was there and I want to ask you this and I'll tell you why.
Go ask me whatever you want.
No, like I met a guy that had been struck by lightning and he couldn't it stole lightning stole his ability to show emotion. And he was cold, like he ran cold. When you shake his hand, it was like, holy crap, it's like a brick of his
Mhm.
ice. And finally he would just we were talking and he stopped me and he was just like, hey, I just want you to know that I've heard everything you said. Like, I don't, I don't want you to think I'm a jerk or something like that. I can't remember how he framed it to me. And I was like, oh, you're good, man. Don't worry about it. He goes, no, you don't understand. Let me tell you what happened. So he told me the story about getting struck by lightning and your dad. Did you have, is there any other, you have any of
Well,
those things that are
yeah,
lingering from near death too?
yeah. I mean, from the broken neck in particular, I've got a thing called syringomyelia, which is like we've all heard the old term of sucking a golf ball through a garden hose.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Well, I've got a golf ball. It was like those tie up balloons, you make animals out of. Okay. It was about this long, 5, 6, 7 inches long. And it was in my neck and it filled up with fluid and became a ball. And I can show you a picture of it. And I don't have it up right now, or I would, but it looks like if my spinal cord, there's a white glob in the middle that pushes against the side of my cord. Okay, that's the syringomyelia. It's plugged. I don't have any spinal cord fluid flowing from there down. So
Yeah.
for 12 years or longer, they don't know how I've been moving anything because I shouldn't have it. I don't have any spinal cord fluid. Then I have a thing called myomalacia. Myomalacia is like taking the garden hose that's got the golf ball stuck into it and hitting it with a heat gun, and it shrinks and it gets thinner and thinner and thinner. So if I was able to show you the picture, and let's say that you can't see on it. Let's say that the cord should be that thick. It's really only that thick. So, and then I've got a thing called brown Sicard, and brown Sicard is very, very unusual. I am about one of maybe 50 people in the country in the United States that has all three of these things. But brown Sicard, there's probably only a couple hundred people have it. And what that is it's alternating areas of pain and weakness or not feeling, and temperature can be affected tremendously by it. So, for example, my left foot, even though it hurts now, I could step on glass and nails and leave blood all through the house, and I would not know I did it. My right foot, if I touch water, I don't care if it's cold water, hot water, cool water, warm water, tepid water, it doesn't matter. It hurts. It's painful. It's painful. Now, and so throughout and then those feelings shift. So like I've got a sweatshirt on here and I think my temperature set at 74, but yet I'm not I'm not warm. I mean, I'm warm.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I feel good. But if it was 72, I would be chilly. And I get cold easier now, but it's all neurologic. It's not mental. It's just,
Yeah.
I can't do it. I mean, where other people, I had some of the guys from OpCon had a surprise birthday party for me out behind the Devil's Backbone Tavern the other day and Saturday afternoon, and which I wasn't expecting. I mean, I thought it was three or four of them going to show up. And I get there, and we had a pretty good time. We didn't stick around long, but it was about 68 degrees, and the wind was coming up, and some guys were walking around with short sleeve shirts and shorts. And I'm going like, God dang, I got a sweatshirt on and a t-shirt on, and I'm like almost getting chilly. So I needed another margarita, it's
Yeah.
like, but yeah,
I think we share that, Jay. I run cold. Like I'm with you. I'm in the house. It's a controlled environment, but I'm generally in a sweatshirt. If you walk by and sometimes you'll walk through and you'll in the middle of summer, you'll be like, why is that guy in a sweatshirt? That's me. Like I've run a little cold sometimes. So I understand exactly what you're saying.
yeah, and there's a difference. If it's 74 degrees with the heat on is not bad. 74 degrees with the air conditioning on is cold.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but it is, or I always wear a Marine Corps shirt, always, or at least a t-shirt, and I wear a felt, roll up. Wear a felt shirt and have the sleeves rolled up some, and I'll wear that, and some days, and you know, and but yeah, it varies. It's just like, and then my legs feel really weird because they're affected like it. And I got a pair of shorts on, but if I go over to the door and it's 64 degrees, I'll think, ooh, it's kind of chilly out. And I go, 64 degrees. What's the deal? Because as a kid being raised on a farm, it was like, man, get rid of your t-shirt, get rid of it. I
Yeah.
don't care if it's 35 degrees out. You're gonna, it can be blowing snow sideways, and you're gonna go out, get in your car and put the windows down, turn the heater up and go be cool,
Yeah.
And
That's my son left. He says 35 here this morning. My son wears shorts to school.
yeah, yeah,
So I know exactly what you're saying.
yeah,
You, and just thinking about you and something I thought we said we was going to try to keep us on track here for just pick for our audience's sake of their time and their attention. Man, but I feel like you said, it's like, hey, we're one of those guys who could talk a long time, but here's you have this amazing drive, Jay, and You have every reason to throw your hands up and say, you know what, I'm in a wheelchair, can't do this. I'm not able. Died 3 times, Jeff. Just woe is me. Somebody come push me around. And
Uh,
you have this amazing freaking drive. And that's what I want folks to take away from this episode, because there's folks out there that ain't in a wheelchair, that's just kicking the can down the road right now. I've been there, woe is me, just caught up in my feelings or emotions. And that's where you, and like when I was reading about you, I was like, I was very inspired just in just your message. I'm like, I got to get to know this guy. And you've accomplished with me everything that I felt like I knew that you were going to deliver. I just didn't know how it was going to come out in this short amount of time that you and I have gotten to work together. But what I'm curious is, how do we leave that message of, you, even though you slowed down physically, this momentum that you picked up is beyond that, man. And I'm like, man, I'm fired up right now. I want to go do something, because I'm like, I just talked to freaking Jay, and that's what I wanted. Like, where's that message, and what's that thing that you can leave our guest with this first time on how you've been through all of this hell, um, and have watched yourself lay on beds and drown in a pool. What's that? What, like, how do we inspire the other folks that their situation is not as dire as what they might think it is, and they can keep rolling, keep going?
um, I think that, I mean, the best answer I can give right now, I mean, just a quick verbal answer, and then I'll give some direction. Is in a way, and I know it's hard to say. I don't know where it comes from, but I really don't. Except I think it's that's why I wrote that book, and the book I wrote was called "The Strength Within You." It came out December 20th. The hardback's coming out pretty soon. The softback's out. The ebook's out. Um, but it's called "The Strength Within You." It's always too soon to quit. And what I tried to get through that in the book, yes, I talk about some of my medical issues. I talk about, like in my cast with a pin breaking and the bone blowing out and going across the hospital ward and hitting another Marine on another bed and the pin going here and the pain and the blood and blah blah blah. Yeah, do I tell some of that? Sure, but the message I try to get through the book is the strength within you. You have a strength within yourself, whether that's from your family, from your DNA, from your upbringing, from church, from school, from friends, from something that you can rely on when times get tough. Dig back within yourself. Is it anger? Is it frustration? Is it irritation? Is it pain? Pain. I let pain makes me stronger. It hurts like hell, but it makes me stronger because it gives me a resolve that when you're busy doing something, if I'm angry as hell at my cell phone here, I got my phone right, and I'm like, I can't get it to work. I'm doing this and that. Okay, while you're thinking about that, or you're concerned about that, or you're busy with that, or you're going in that direction, you don't think so much about your pain. But if you're all alone, sitting over here in the chair, and it's dark out, and you're by yourself, what else you got to think about but the pain? So what I've tried to do is share the message of how to be resilient, how to have the courage, the grit, the determination, the perseverance, and all that through what you've gone through and what you've learned, and dig it out of yourself to help you overcome the adversities and roadblocks and detours and failures, or the things that may be wrong, because I don't care how much pain I'm in. I don't care how paralyzed I am. I don't care what hurts. My left hand works pretty good. My wrist is fused and all with bone from my right pelvis. And there's lots of that stories that people don't know about. But my right hand it's useless. It's just like you could cut it off at the wrist. It doesn't matter. It doesn't do any good. And don't worry about that crap, because that's all it is. It's a bunch of BS. And I can't change it. It's like, concentrate on what you can do, not on
Yeah.
what you can't do. Think about the possibilities. It's like, uh, you know, I often say, don't ask, why do people ask why? Why not ask, why not?
Why not?
Which is going to be my next book. And
Yeah.
I want to get into that because it's like, it's so much, it's the basics. It's the basics. Get back to common sense. What Make good choices, make good decisions, do the best you can. Are you going to always make the right choice? No, or the right. I know I don't buy lottery tickets because I never buy the right damn lottery ticket to win, so I'm not going to buy any. You know, so that's just yeah.
Guilty. Yeah, same.
I bought one lottery
No,
ticket.
I'm just as
I bought one lottery
guilty
ticket.
as you are there.
Do I?
I said I'm just as guilty as you are there. I never buy the winners.
Oh, I bought one lottery ticket one time in Illinois back in like 86 or 86 when they first came out with them. It was $1 and I won like 28 bucks. And I said, okay, I'm done. That's like me going to Vegas. I am not going to play. I'm not going to play. I don't play the game. I don't.
That's
That's why
funny.
Vegas is Vegas. But I just think a lot of it is you
Yeah.
just got to dig within yourself, take it out, and say, hey, what is it that I can't do? And if you want some motivation, go to the VA. Go to a VA hospital. Go to an old folks home. Look at somebody that's had a stroke. Look at somebody that fell down and has a broken neck. I had a friend that broke a neck right before we graduated high school doing tumbling, and they tumbled, and coach told I was in the class. He says, "Stone, get up." Stone says, Coach, I can't move. He said, Stone, get your ass up. He said, get the hell up. He said, we got other people need to go. We got class to finish up. Stone says, I can't move. And he couldn't. He broke his neck so bad and it severed the cord and he was done. And he lived, I used to go visit him and he lived about 20 more years after. He lived till he was like about maybe about 40, 38, 37, 38, 39.
Yeah.
I don't, and he died. But that's what scared me. When they first told me I will be paralyzed from the shoulders down. But be thankful and go look at these people. Go talk to them. Ask them what's their life like. Listen to them. You know, and a lot of them, it's gonna terrify you because they're gonna say, man,
Yeah.
or people that have diseases that they don't think there's a cure for, or a neurosurgeon. Jim Rose was a phenomenal neurosurgeon, three Bronze Stars, Vietnam, was a MASH doctor. He was my neurosurgeon. He did like 18 or 19 surgeries on me and wouldn't do them unless I mean, he was a pilot and flew choppers and did everything. And I talked to him last fall and he was real good. He'd retired finally, and I tried getting home this last spring. Well, he died from pancreatic cancer, but he didn't even know he had it, and he died. They told once he found out he was dead in
Yeah.
3 weeks. 3 weeks, three
Yep.
weeks, and you're dead. I mean, be thankful to God that you're alive. I mean, just hallelujah, I'm here and I'm going to do something, even if it's wrong. Do something. You know. And I mean, because I don't have I don't have a better answer than that. You just got to dig within yourself. Dig what has Jeff been through that he can teach his kids, or that he can use as an example, or what good choices you made, what bad choices have you made. Don't be ashamed of them because we all do it. We're not, when somebody says they try for perfection, no, perfection is God's business. All we can do is the human stuff, do the best you can do. It's like, I don't know. That's about the best I can tell you. Well, I hope so. Yeah, and please do, because there's a lot of people out there. I mean, we're just getting the word out. Last year was a big marketing year for us, went out on. And I'd like to leave two other thoughts with you, wrapping things up too. But yeah, I mean, if you share them with friends that are even either chiefs of fire departments or wherever, something like that would really be helpful for us and for them. It's for everybody. Um, and we'll respond, or they can get a hold of me, whatever. But the one thing I want to leave is one thing I've lived by, other than on my book, that people can get the strength within you. It's always too soon to quit. Amazon or Barnes and Nobles, whatever. Right now it's in paperback. The hardback's coming out, but is I believe in 10 two-letter words, and they're very simple. And this is one thing that's easy for you to do: is if it is to be, it is up to me. And that says so much. And the other thing
Yeah.
is, I start my book out with it, and it's something I heard years ago, and it's attributed to an American writer, but they say they don't know for sure if it is or not. But it's what lies behind us and what lies ahead of us are very small matters compared to what lies within us. And that it's within you. It's within you to do it. You got to believe it.
Man, I'll share with you after we wrap up. Folks, connect with this guy. His links are down below. Make sure you connect with Jay. If you got friends in public safety, let's share his mission and what he's doing. But I'm going to get the copy of that book. I suggest all of you get a copy of that book as well. The back links are down there that we need to do that. Let's support Jay and his mission. And man, I can't wait to read the book to learn more about you. But dude, thank you. Thank you so much for being with
You're
us
welcome.
today, and I can't thank you enough. And I'm looking forward to our next time we get to spend together.
Hope to talk to you soon, Jeff. Thank you.